Hello, YouTube. J-Bob, the video game slob, coming back at you here for our first update on how things are selling. So we are at a Friday. That is 2 weeks since we have been to the GOAT estate sale. And so what is good about that timing is we got some of the results here back from the antique mall. So things have been selling there. So we'll go through the January monthly report as we always do, so we can discuss what's been selling. And then I thought, well, that'll be good because it'll show some of what's going on. We'll give the GOAT estate sale sort of sales update, let you know in terms of where we're at and getting back. I think it was $7,600 in total or something, probably even more than that once it all added up, because there were some extra things in there at the end on those Saturday and Sundays. But then just to spice it up or give you something cool to look at, a little bit of mail day and what's been coming in. I am just too weak a man to resist sub $7 Pokken tournaments, so I ordered another pair off eBay, and the first one arrived, and unfortunately, no, it did not have the amiibo card, but I'm not upset in the slightest for that price. For 25 bucks, I grabbed the Dragon Fantasy, again, another one of these limited print ones, that I did not have and didn't pick up back in the day because I got the PS4 version back then. And this is an interesting one, as I believe they had problems with the vendor or people wherever at the ports stealing sort of the production copies of these games. So that's what that one is. If you get one with a hole punched out, that was never supposed to get to the public. So there you go. I was down at my local game store when this got traded in, so I grabbed this for 14 bucks. Apparently hardly a discount from the $14.99 GameStop once had it at. But I don't know, it was just like the first ever anime based on this game. And so, I don't know, not sealed or anything and not in great shape with the stickers, but 14 bucks, we'll put it away. This may be the last for a long time. I don't think any others are coming. I don't have any saved searches out that I know of. Last of the Xbox games that I needed to pick up that were fairly expensive as part of the 2025 not completing the Xbox set, but trying to pick up the heavy hitters. So I got this at auction for $6 or so under market price, so I was pretty happy with that. And it's just a very hard to find game, and so yeah, still 175 left to go. So I don't see targeting that. I just don't have a reason to pick up a lot of those cheap small dollar Xbox games. But as I see them out and about, I do want to kind of target them and start picking them up this year. And this I thought was really cool. I don't think a lot of people know this, but the Sly, game, Sly the Thievius Raccoon, back in the day on the PS2 when manuals were really cool. And so if you have a really cool Sly 3 manual, it will have the 3D glasses inside that are the I forget what that is, the red and blue, and they even have cool little things there. So just one of the cooler manuals to be on the look for. All these little inserts are getting harder and harder to find, and so you might be like, oh, I can find that game really cheap. If you can find it cheap and it has those in there, I'd say pick it up because they're probably going to get rarer and harder to find over time. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, so let's take a dive in here, see what's been selling, how we ended up in January, and just, I don't know, guess talk about the market for things and where things are. I think Gears of War is a great place to start on that because, it's PS4 and it's $10, and I don't think any of the other Gears of War, there's only PS3 and PS2, are that cheap. Whoever got that, probably a really good price. I've only been spending $5 on them, but when I see them, $5, how can you pass it up? Here you go. Here's the fun of trying to reconcile when you sell stuff and somebody else is the cashier. They just write the word game. How am I ever supposed to track that back to anything? So you just had to go back and track anything that you priced at $11. There you go. Xbox 360 for $75. I have so many 360s in backstock, as does the local video game store. I'm pretty okay with that. I think the market for 360s is really great because backward compatibility is hit or miss. I love backward compatibility. I think it's great. But I think at some point, as the games continue to tick up, having a large inventory of systems that play them is going to be great. I have run out of Wii Sports Resorts, so that person got a pretty good price there. I am maybe down to my last copy or two of Mario Kart. I think I sold 10 copies this month or something like that. They did not last very long. And the ones I have out are at retail. I don't have any more in back stock or anything like that on Marketplace. Just Dance for Wii, that must have been like the 2019 or 2020, one of the last ones they ever did. So that's why that was so expensive. Very happy to have that out of the way. Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo was one that hung out there for probably 6 months. I was pretty surprised to see that finally out of there, and that it was there for quite so long. Any of these Call of Duties that sell are always fantastic because I only pay like $1 or $2 if I see them, out and about in a, flea market or a garage sale or something like that. I think we have talked several times about a giant lot of Ray Dunn pottery or Ray Dunn, I don't know, decorations that you can have in your house. And I've been trying to sell that off something fierce. So getting rid of that mug set for $8 would be great. I've already made all my money back and then some. I'm just ready to be done with that stuff. These trays I got at a garage sale over the summer. They were just really cool and couldn't let them go. And so that stuff's selling. That is all great. Again, geez, can't argue with that. This is how I knew the month was starting to heat up and go well, is the Atari Jaguar that had been there for probably 9 or 10 months. Finally took off. So not only that, the customer was gracious enough to buy Cybermorph, which again, I know I talk about AVGN all the time. That's the game that includes the "Where did you learn to fly" meme. So we got that out of there. Cybermorph, great. Again, it's January, people. I seem to, want to buy Just Dances this time of year, maybe to get activity or, get fit, that kind of thing. I don't know. But they all start selling. And of course, it was spelled Damps. And here we have Donk Kong. Because the extra EY would have taken just too much time to spell out. Looking down. I was still, this is when I was blowing out the CRT TVs. That was the very last one there. Xbox One's finally starting to sell. I think I have one last one that's out on the shelves now. I don't think I have any else, except for the Halo limited edition one. I don't think I'll put that out. It's got the whole box and everything. It'd just be too much space. Mario Karts were selling hot and heavy. There we go. Let's flip the page here. I don't know, just looking for narratives or stories or things that you can kind of learn or be on the lookout for. 3DS XL, that's great. Yeah, here's a tough one. I don't know how I'm going to, disambiguate what games they were for $88. But here's the story. These people sometimes, have a line to the back of the store, and so I would much prefer them to say $88, get that customer's money and get them out the door, than create a long line or a longer line, and then have people complaining and not wanting to come back. So, hey, sell them the merchandise. I'll figure it out on the back end. Here's another one that sat for quite a long time. The Mario 3 in a box, which was a great item. I think I paid maybe $25 to $30 for it. And, I spent the extra buck to get it in the, little case that I set it out in. And people would say, oh, it's a really great thing. It's very tough to sell on the internet because there are so many boxed Super Mario 3s if you're going to put it on eBay. But in an antique mall, not a lot of people come there to buy boxed games. And so Mario 3 would have been one of the few games I would have even put out in a box because it's not so expensive that somebody's going to get into it and ruin its condition by, opening and closing it and that kind of thing. Or steal it or price switch on it or, potentially a lost situation. And so, and it just sat there for a long time. So I'm very glad to have it gone. And of course the box just takes up more space. So that does kind of, factor into it too. Again, anything with the word Sims in it, Sims Castaway you're seeing there. Always great to have. Those always seem to sell. Fire Emblem was another one. There was a guy that worked there that sold me the Fire Emblem on DS for, I don't know, 20 or 25 bucks, and I told him I'd sell it for 50. That was like 6 months ago. It was sometime midsummer. So that, yeah, maybe 7 months ago. There you go. Game Boy Advance for 75. Finally got rid of the Super Nintendo Classic, which was really handy because this was before we got the Super Nintendo Classic from the estate sale, so that did not last long. Funko Pop, it's kind of funny. So I got that Funko Pop from the clearance section of GameStop. And then recall that I did the video on GameStop clearancing everything out and buying Funkos for like 20 cents and that kind of stuff. I took over the leftover 6 or 8 of those that I had up to the antique mall, and a guy that works there saw me bringing them in because I had them marked for $2 and $3. And he goes, "Can we make a deal?" And I said, "Gladly." And I sold them all for $20. So we are done with that. That has now paid off well enough. And we are out of the woods on that. Again, a nice chunk of Just Dances there. Heading out this month. Pokemon chain, that's just some AliExpress junk that I would sell from time to time. Yeah, again, like more Just Dances going on here. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff, again, that's super hard for me. I try to put like one out every time I have a system. That way, if you're buying a PS2 or a 64, you have one. But it's just sort of hard to keep that in stock. It's just, they're small, true, but they get lost in the thing. And, people, if you're at a game store, it's very easy to say, "Hey, you're buying the system. Do you need a memory card?" And they almost always say, "Yeah," and you get a couple extra bucks out of that sale. But with nobody there to kind of make that recommendation and get you that, plus up on your sales, that doesn't happen. Somebody finally bought out the rest of my amiibos. Very glad to have that happen. Let's see, we're getting way late in the video. Oh yeah, this was really funny. Flammable sign. So it was literally a metal sign that said flammable on it. I bought this lot of metal signs for like 30 or 40 bucks, and there were like 12 of them. And I was like, I'll start out by selling like 20 a piece. And all of my friends said I was crazy. And I sold like 2 for 20, and then like 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever for 15. And then this was the last one I finally got $10 out of. So I eventually did very well. But it took literally a year. And, in some ways they were sort of right about that. But they were all cool. They said like noxious and flammable and radioactive. And I was like, somebody will want these. So I don't know. I was right. They were kind of right. What can you say? There you go. Cabbage Patch Kids lunchbox. The kind of thing you can pick up and sell if you have a showcase at the antique mall that would be, dead money on eBay, and really wouldn't sell on a Craigslist or anything like that. I have been trying in January here to bring in some things like Wii remotes, as people are buying those Just Dances and stuff, just to have some of that stuff, in place. Every now and then I'll get a fake game, and as you can tell, I just mark it as replica. I don't even, I want to make sure the person that buys it knows that they're doing that. I got a squirrel jar for $1 and sold it for $7. So again, the margins on things, as you can see, that aren't video games are almost always better. This had to be my favorite line. DH stock number, name of it, AMD, price $5. I don't know what any of that means. As you can tell, there's never anything in that other column. We may never know. A Vera Bradley purse for $2.50. That was great. Get that stuff out of the free bin when you can. Again, somebody buying more Wii remotes. That kind of caught people's attention there for a while, so I'll have to keep doing that. And that brings us to the end of January, where we ended up at, for the month, well, you'd have to do the math. Oh shoot, did I cut it off? There you go. For the month, we ended at $4,182 in sales. Take out the commissions, credit card fees, and of course our showcase rent. We took home a check after all that for $3,539.92. So no, not even close to paying off the bill. Just kind of a preview here real quick, since we're at the 15-minute mark. I'm not going to go over this. We'll save it for the February report. but a few things on here from the GOAT estate sale. And so we will total up today, what came out of there and give you an update. But in terms of eBay sales and marketplace sales as of week 2, we are at $745. So hopefully there's a good amount of this that came from the GOAT estate sale. But right now we are at literally 1/10 of what we paid, not even 1/10. And so we'll hope for some strong February sales results to prove that out. So thank you, YouTube. That's what J Bob the Video Game Slob's been up to. We'll talk to you soon. Get yourself some 3D glasses.